played that game.
I think it's like from Final Fantasy, I think, or something. I don't know.
All right, and we are off, and we are starting at the Dark Chapel, who will heal you if you pay him and explain to you that what the 5-6 crystals do. And we are heading off probably toward our typical village of outcasts slash Skullwood start. There aren't as many checks available right away in the world, as we now are looking at a map check 5 and 6 on Misery Mire and Ice Palace, and I missed the other pendants. Let's see there.
That is Skull Woods and Turtle Rock.
Never like seeing Turtle Rock pendant, especially on inverted, because of just how many different ways you get into Turtle Rock now.
Yeah. And, well, we'll have to see how this pans out, but I've seen a lot of instances where Moon Pearl's been sitting inside Turtle Rock, and that can always be a good time.
All
So
right,
Vivi's doing a common opening in inverted where he goes to Skull Woods, bloots himself 2 bombs and some magic, and then just dies. And then
but I would
just
like
goes ahead and keeps doing that.
I'd like to bring attention that AaronDobbe did pick up the magic powder and the lamp already. And
Oh,
there's the Book of Medora.
yeah, that is required for desert access in inverted. You have no choice in the matter on that regard. You can't use the flute and mirror.
Nope, we absolutely have to find that book if Desert Palace is required. We're not sure about that yet. We still need to find our way into the Light World. We have to gain that access the same way we would through Dark World. All the portal requirements are the same, whether it be the lift upgrades needed, or the hammer plus gloves, or of course defeating Aghanim, who's now hanging out in Ganon's tower. And there's the big key for Vivi. And there's one of probably many deaths that we're going to see in the early part of Inverted. Inverted is definitely not for the faint of heart. And there we have the flippers in the village of Outcasts for AaronDobbe. We are a fire rod or Bauhaus medallion away from finding our way into a very early ice palace, as the door is now gone. You don't have to worry about going through a portal to reach Ice Palace. And there we get bombs from one of the statue poles. That's huge. And we have synced ups into Hype Cave. How much hype are we thinking we're going to have? But unfortunately, Dobby doesn't have any bombs.
That's unfortunate. I mean, all there is money.
He didn't miss out on
That's
much.
actually... Well, 300 rupees is a lot in inverted. Like, early in, you're very rupee starved in this mode.
There isn't you don't have the instant access to the plethora of rupees that is Kakariko Village. Vivi heading on over to check on Stumpy, and AaronDobbe is going to try to swim their way over toward the pod area. Started to go towards the hobo, but realized, wait, I can't get there. This isn't the Light World. And Stumpy had our lamp. How helpful. AaronDobbe heading over to one of the very early available locations, the Pyramid Ledge, provided he can make it there on half of heart.
I mean, half a heart. He's fine.
Be curious to see if Vivi decides to maybe dip into the bow game. I don't think that's going to be as likely since they picked up at 300, but that's one of the easier ways to obtain rupees in the early game of Inverted.
Oh, Aaron gets sniped.
The Dark World is a dangerous place on 3 hearts and no weapons. Vivi digs and digs and digs. We're nearing that 30 required digs just for 50. Yeah, you get half your money back. And we're back into the Dark Chapel and both heading toward the village I'd imagine Thieves Town is probably going to be the next play for both our runners. For semi-easy checks to obtain. We still need to find some sort of weapon before we can tackle Blind. As that poor tile gets bullied around by that thief.
So there's the big key.
As we find a shield in the sea house. And in the next chest, just the single rupee. Not what we're hoping to find early.
The good old dollar bill.
And the brewery was holding onto our water toes. Moving on deeper into Thieves Town. There's got to be something here. There's the burrito. We're one check left. And that's coming up dry. Looking at what we've got left, it looks like we're being bent toward the Palace of Darkness. With that lamp, most of the checks are open except for the bow-locked side of Pod.
And that's assuming that Pod is in fact not bow locked either. There's not a small key in that first chest. We're done.
Well, there has to be some sort of progression hidden somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron is going to go ahead and dive deeper, though it is more dangerous as we get toward the back. So there's still some checks left. We just can't complete the boss. Thieves Town, a lot less trivial of a place when you have no real way to defend yourself. Each of are coming armed only with bombs. And AaronDobbe makes a great job getting through that hellway.
All right, what's our first hint?
After we pot the keys, no, grumble, grumble.
And 20 rupees that Aaron probably really wanted just got dropped out of range of him.
Unfortunate parts of Inverted. Go ahead deeper into the town of Thieves. See what it could be sending us somewhere. Need to find our light world access, or a bow, or the fire rod, or bombos to get us deeper, and that's the unfortunate part of Inverted. Those little geckos do a lot of damage. Let us see now how Vivi fares as they head toward that way. That's a nice 25 pickup. As AaronDobbe goes in for round 2. As we slowly plot our way through Thieves Town, I think it'd be a good idea to just go over some of the changes for Inverted for those that may not have seen it thus far. A lot of the overworld had to be changed in order to make this possible. There was a lot of love and care taken into creating this mode. All the mirror-locked locations in the Light World are just kind of accessible now, with bridges added to the Graveyard Ledge, the Hylia Island, Cave 45 and the Checkerboard Cave have been flattened out. There is now a set of stairs that lead you up from the Light World portal up to where Ganon's tower is. In the Dark World, there is now a after you defeat Aga 1, there's a portal that'll appear where the bridge would be in the Light World. And Turtle Rock and the mountain in general are just kind of a mess to route, as there's many more entrances available to Turtle Rock via the use of the mirror. And some terrain editing done there. As AaronDobbe gets a little bit of redemption getting through the room with the geckos.
So Vivi, so normally if you, at this point you typically have a glove upgrade, right? But in this case, he does not. So he has to do some artful bombing of enemies to go down this
Through the
route.
long way, and that's going to be a death, unfortunately.
This is kind of a rough opening.
Well, going as deep into Thieves Town as we are without a real usable weapon, it's definitely setting itself up to be difficult. This is inverted mode. Definitely not something I suggest you start with if you really want to get into Randomizer.
And actually, the interesting part about it is that combining this with Key Sanity is actually probably better because you're less likely to be put in a situation like this, where you're having to clear through the back half of TR or TT without really anything to do it with.
No, absolutely, and unfortunately, yeah, inverted keys. With the current rules of the tournament, if inverted is picked, no other variations may be. Perhaps in a future tournament, we will see some inverted key sanity as AaronDobbe gets trapped by those Zazaks. Vivi picks up a heart and tries to head down to see if they can make it through. Provided that these move, Stalfos. Dobby's going to head back toward the hype cave that they left earlier, only they're only going to find a piece of heart and a little bit of money. Just taking a peek at what is left in Logic. With those flippers, we do have access to Pod, provided it's not bow locked. We also still have the chest here that Vivi is about to get to. And there is still, I think, a check or two left in Skull Woods that were not looked at. And unfortunately, we just find the small key here, so...
Yeah, Vivi's going to rescue the maiden and it's going to have to nope out because he doesn't have a weapon to fight blind with.
This will save them a little bit of time going back into this dungeon. However, it will also put them in a position where blind is off of the usual script. Which, depending on what he's holding on to and what we find, may not be the best. Now, remind me, did AaronDobbe at least see the item on Pyramid Ledge before he got sniped?
I don't think he made it that far.
Another check that is available. I think he's just going to go ahead and give Blind a big old hug and get themselves out of this room and off to their next set of checks. So overall, Thieves Town coming in with nothing, unless there's something Blind or the Big Chest are holding on to since we have the key, but we're still lacking a hammer or any weapon to do damage to Blind. As we head up toward the woods, and another of the inverted changes to keep in mind, you gain access to Death Mountain via the Dark World by the Bumper Ledge. That cave. Though you will hit when you bring the old man through, you will come out on the other. You will still have to take him up the mountain and into the Light World to bring him home to the Light World. He really got lost this time.
So Aaron is giving himself access to the eastern side of Dark World by using the flippers. There's two ways to get access over here, and that's the hammer or the flippers.
As he desperately tries to manipulate that enemy so he can gain passage.
I think this has a, yeah, this is a fairy fountain, so he'll be able to get himself healed up.
Definitely feels good. It'll give him one extra hit from all those enemies in the Palace of Darkness area.
Really? Alright, I think he's going... Alright, he's gunning for Pyramid again. And then Quakefish is still out of the picture. Maybe.
Still have to find a
Yeah.
lift upgrade.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think even flippers would help you out there.
Unfortunately not. Alright, here's round 2 for AaronDobbe ascending the pyramid. Trying to get that out of the way. Makes it by, and what are we holding on to here? Just a big 20.
Nope, he's gonna skip it. He has enough money for right now.
And Vivi unfortunately meets the wall master and has to start this room again. This has to be one of... Oh, that wall master.
Yeah, so like some strategies for this room actually involve not taking out those 2 enemies. Because as long as all 4 enemies are on the screen, you're not going to get a wall mastered.
Then it becomes a question of what would you rather handle, the wall master dropping in or more enemies?
Really, so the positioning and how they move is somewhat predictable. So
definitely
yeah,
if you played enough on this one. Just those Gibdos are obnoxious. And there's the Bombos medallion with the flippers. That's access to Ice Palace.
oh yes, it is. That's very interesting.
Ice Palace with nothing but Bombos and bombs thus far. So they will be able to use the... Oh, Chad brings up a good point. We do not have a sword yet, so we can't actually fire those medallions.
They're right. This isn't swordless. It's correct.
Well, we're a sword away from Ice Palace access, and that looks like AaronDobbe is in pod, and we are not bowlocked, so we're heading deep down.
Yeah,
With
I
that
think
lamp, most of these checks are in logic.
pod is the answer.
We will fortunately not be able to see the bow side as we don't have the bow or a bottle to manipulate it. Alright, Pod, what are you holding on to for us now? You have to imagine our progression is hidden somewhere. Unfortunately, we have to get through the mountain of keys first.
All right, be careful, Vivi.
That
That
half-heart pyramid climb.
see some fancy footwork here.
Seen a lot of it thus far. There's just another key for Dobby dropping down, hoping to find some kind of progression here soon. One more key, we're heading deep.
Yeah, we have keys. Basically, since all the keys are showing up here, it means that the game obviously isn't expecting you to have the bow yet.
He goes ahead and deeps down and checks the hint to let us know that the purple chest isn't going to help us today.
It's actually pretty useful to know.
That's a lot of time saved, definitely. As Vivi contemplates their life decisions, leading them to this thus far, and looking at the map. Dobby heads deeper into pod, and let's see where it's taking us now. Goes ahead and picks up that second pot to deal with that second Helmosaur. Probably one of my least favorite rooms in the game. These Helmosaurs are just obnoxious. There's the map. We're heading deeper. Go ahead and pick up as much of this money as we can. There's the big key.
Yep. And a small key. So we are pressing on.
The dark maze is holding onto our progression. Either inside the maze itself or in the big chest. of course, in the harmless hellway here. And there's the mushroom. Not doing a lot of good for us right now. And there's these mini dongos. Get out of our way. There's a big 20. We must dive deeper. There's a piece of heart.
What's in the big chest?
What's in the box? What's in the box? A lift upgrade.
That's a randomizer for you. That's a so inverted has such a narrow sphere 0 that, or sphere 1 I should say, that you're gonna run into scenarios like that where you're gonna get strung along. That should open up things a little bit. He's gonna take that to Death Mountain though.
The only things that immediately opens up are Death Mountain and our catfish friend. Interesting to note that with this being inverted, the only... Oh, look at that. That's Kane on the bumper ledge.
Alright, so we know we're gonna have to find Magic Cape at some point.
And the mirror as well. And
Murder.
that's... yeah.
It's just, especially without a good weapon, dealing with those murderdactyls can just be an interesting time.
That murder dactyl is something else. And Vivi, unfortunately, taking a death to those terror pins. So now as Aaron heads away up to Death Mountain, they'll have to bring home the old man and bring him back into the light world where he will become trapped there without the mirror. So he'll have to save and quit after he finishes a couple checks. Goes ahead and picks up the sign and takes care of that murder dactyl. And then he runs into the very interesting scenario that is routing Death Mountain in inverted. So right away when you get there, the things that are available to you are Spectacle Rock and the Spectacle Rock Cave, I should say, as well as Super Bunny Cave. So that means dodging Lionels on 3 hearts and as of now, no weapon. For being in the Dark World, this side of Death Mountain, not so terrifying.
Everybody loves sky cabbages, right?
This isn't really a place that we were designed to be in the first place. And we're going to go ahead and make our very first passage into the light world via this portal. I definitely appreciate the key as a bunny sprite for the tile. As we make our first foray as a bunny, it's probably a good idea to go over what a bunny can do.
Not a whole lot.
A bunny can pick up items that are laying on the ground. A bunny
Yeah.
can read books. A bunny can talk to NPCs. And the bunny can pull the pedestal. And I believe the bunny can also possibly read hint tiles.
That's correct too. Bunny cannot open chests unless you've done a glitch called... Oh, and there's our hook shot.
Now we have access to the east side of Light World Death Mountain, but unfortunately we can't get to the Light World yet.
Yeah, we need to find... We need a... But that will open up the items in Hookshot Cave.
Yes, Hookshot Cave's huge here. You will, however, have to make it past the Lionels.
The Hookshot will make that slightly easier. Because you have invincibility frames when the Hookshot's being fired. So we can use that to potentially dodge some of the projectiles from the Lionels. It'll be slightly tricky. We'll see how he handles it.
Go ahead and check these north, south, east, and west, looking for some health some health refills. Finds one and is on his way to meet everyone's favorites. Unfortunately, he gets double-bodied and he's down. Trying to get across this bridge is probably one of the hardest things to do in the early game.
I mean, right now, yeah, and especially since it looks like the logic is requiring this, so that's the fun with inverted.
Well, as of right now, I can't see anything else that is available to us except for our friend the catfish. And there's a little cat as the bunny sprite for the Vivi sprite. Brutal openings are the name of the game in inverted mode. Here comes round 2. Takes a fireball. As long as he doesn't get hit again. Oh, that was close.
All right, he's safer now. So there's 6 items here. Our Moon Pearl is going to need to show up really soon.
Or maybe the sword to send us into Ice Palace.
The pre-Moon Pearl Ice Palace is always a good time.
There's just a lot of booms there in Super Bunny.
Remind me again, where was the Bombos medallion?
We found that pretty early in the village, I think. There was actually a hint for it, we didn't really notice.
Okay. And that's Quake for Turtle Rock.
However, it may not end up being required. We already know where the Cane of Samaria is. Routing through Turtle Rock is a lot more difficult than you'd think.
Not the thing we're looking for.
No, and there's guess we're going, and we can now access. There's the Moon Pearl.
All right. Yeah. Hookshot Cave Moon Pearl.
However, what that does open up is Light World Death Mountain and the plethora of items there.
Yes.
So I'd imagine we're heading right back up the mountain and into the portal and heading on over and going over towards the Paradox Cave, Spiral Cave, and all the other large quantities of items. So hopefully we'll find some kind of weapon to truly defend ourselves coming up here shortly. As Vivi is going to go ahead and make their attempt to get past the Lionels. And mix it by quick and easy. As AaronDobbe is going to go ahead and make their way toward Paradox Cave. Gonna have quite a few items here and hopefully send us in a direction that is a little less brutal. Alright, first few checks in Paradox Cave, we have the Ether Medallion, so if you're a numismatist, you're quite happy to see all the coins are available. As Vivi finds their Quake.
Alright, so that's the end of the bunny music now.
Rest in peace, bunny music. We hardly knew ye. Some more booms. The other single rupee.
So, a flute?
Well, that opens up, Misery Mire, because all 3 coins are in play.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it would, basically.
So I think
We
we still
still
need
need
a sword.
But it would open up Mire area, since we don't have the mirror yet.
Yes, that opens up Mire Shed and not much else. Though if we find a second lift upgrade hidden somewhere, that would open up the Light World side of that as well. Interesting to note that the Titan's Mitts, a crucial item in normal mode, once you're inverted, they're only required for... forget what I'm saying, because that's a hammer. That's huge.
Yeah. We're gonna... Yeah, it's a hammer.
Whack our way through.
Yeah.
So, Tower of Hera? I'm thinking Tower of Hera.
Yeah, that really makes the most amount of sense. And it looks like our green pendant is at Eastern, and the rest of them are crystals.
Alright, so good thing we found that book, is that book definitely sets it up to be like another Ice Rod in inverted mode, as that's your only access to desert, and to find that early pretty much brings a lot of peace of mind. And there's a big key, so we may not have to go to the basement quite yet, depending on where the items are hiding. Next hint tile reads, some cash requires a hammer. That's helpful. And he found the key, and he's gonna go ahead and just assume he needs to dive down here. Or not.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna opt to do that later, which makes sense, really. Because if that's a compass or a map, then there's really no good reason to do so.
No, absolutely. Head on up further toward the Tower of Hera as Vivi goes ahead and finds their hammer. Definitely a feels good moment after just how brutal the start of this scene was. Now we can defend ourselves.
Hey, Vivi, you can do blind now.
Oh, that sounds like fun. 5-heart hammer blind?
Unscripted?
And there we have a fairy in a bottle and some caches in Thieves Town.
Yeah, you'll have to. Yeah, without boots, you'll have to bomb jump it. It looks like he's just gonna do it the
Regular way.
intended way.
And we have just couch cache on the ether tablet. What's this? Somebody do something as intended? What is this, randomizer? All that for a compass. And Vivi's making their way into the Tower of Hera, thankful to find their big key, but it looks like there is probably something hiding down below. If I counted my items correctly.
Yeah, I think the compass and the map showed up, right?
Can't remember the burrito for sure, but I guess we'll see what Moldorm has here. Nope, the burrito's still in play.
So if Moldorm has an item, we're done. Alright, Moldorm.
And down goes Moldorm.
There we go.
And just a heart container. We don't have to go downstairs, but 34 minutes in, we have our first crystal. Alright, so looking at what we've gained and what's now available to us, those last 2 checks in Thieves Town have reopened for us. So we now have the hammer to open up the big chest, and we have the ability to take down blind now. Alright, we have just a piece of heart here, or a heart container here for Dobby in the Mimic Cave. Showing off one of the more interesting routing decisions you can make here with the inclusion of inverted mode. As I said before, the mountain isn't quite as straightforward as it once was. You can possibly make 8, 9, 10 trips up and down that mountain as you're trying to collect everything once things become available to you. Still need to find. Well, with this current item configuration, I should now note that the light world is now our oyster. I'd imagine after we get done playing on the mountain, Kakariko Village is probably heading up next.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going for straight item density, which you would be at this point, that is certainly the play. Yeah, CAC is definitely the play to make. There's like 14 or so item locations there.
As brutal as this seed has been early, we have a lot of things to find yet. We're going to need both the cape and the mirror to gain access to Arcana Samaria. That's going to be big. And that cape could be hiding in a lot of places. As can the mirror.
Not going to Dark Chapel.
I think he's heading to... I think he's going to start with South Shore by the looks of it. Interesting he would decide to start there when he has the ability to get to activate the flute and make the I suppose the flute now works in Dark World, so the traversal isn't as easy.
Plus, we do know that Uncle does have, in fact, a guaranteed sword.
Yeah, that's probably why he's heading up there. Let's finally get a sword into this mess. And Vivi goes ahead and takes down Moldor and picks up their first crystal. I had forgotten about the Uncle Assured sword. Interesting to note that the flute now works in the Dark World in Inverted, however, it still needs to be taken to Kakariko Village in the Light World to awaken the Swag Duck. And there's our Uncle Assured sword.
And there's the ice rod, so we won't be searching for that.
Even though we didn't need to? Potentially?
Pedestal isn't dead yet.
Pedestal, Trinex, something you're probably not hoping to see right now as one of these runners. All the parts for Pendant Turtle Rock are sitting out there. Definitely does not feel great to see. As AaronDobbe is making the way through the escape sequence. And there's the Master Sword.
Siege was really holding down on the swords.
Interesting to find two of our first two swords, both in the escape sequence. One we were assured of, and the other one was there by chance. If we find a third one, I'm going to call this the Palace of Swords. Oh wait, this isn't the DS version, is it? Or Game Boy Advanced.
The inferior version?
Hot takes, hot takes. Though it is a reminder that this is based on the Japanese 1.0 version of the ROM long before Game Boy Advances were a thing. Couple of hammer swings, and down goes the guard.
Yeah, he's gonna let go of his fairy here, so that he can more easily death warp this.
Just has to be careful not to run into it along the way.
Yeah, you should be fine.
Seems like the fairy's playing nice. As Vivi goes ahead and checks the tree pole, finds some arrows, and is going to head and pick up their swords in the escape sequence. So with those swords, we now have access to Ice Palace. As well as with the book, we can go through Desert, which could potentially be Boots Lock. Head on down into the dark side of the sewers. Go ahead.
Yeah, let's see if this is a small key? No, we're done here.
Done through this route, at least.
Kind of giving it a thought.
Where do I want to go next? Kakariko Village sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, I like this play.
Pick up your assured sword plus the bonus sword, and then head over to Kakariko Village and just roll in the potential items. Though I have seen seeds where you get really early access to the village or to the light world, go through all the light world checks, find nothing, only to have to make a triple dip of Turtle Rock. Inverted is rude. It's designed to be a harder difficulty for those that are more advanced. And definitely, I find the most interesting way to play Randomizer, aside from just throwing Enemizer or Key Sanity in, and it's just making the puzzle even harder. Being in the light world never felt so good. And I'm gonna go head on back and check our couple Lost Woods checks.
That's right, we don't have the book yet on Aaron's side.
Yeah, that was in, where was that again?
Somewhere.
Maybe Skull Woods, place that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Skull Woods check that we fought forever to get to. It looks like Vivi is heading. Oh, he's gonna go ahead and take the south route into Kakariko. AaronDobbe thinks about going to check Lumberjack Ledge and then changes their mind. Just remembering that the Graveyard Ledge is freely available to him now, plus he wants to check the back of Escape. K45 coming up with not a whole lot. We continue on.
Yeah, this is one of the modified locations. That bridge is not there in the vanilla game, and that's so that you can get to it in inverted.
As the mirror takes you from the light world into the dark world, it's no longer possible to mirror in that location, as we find just 10 arrows in the race game. And AaronDobbe is going to go ahead and check into the back of Escape. It's definitely, seeing all the modifications to the map definitely shows the care and thought the developers took into making this mode work pretty much flawless. When you consider how much of the map they had to change to make this all possible. So we find just a piece of heart here through that part back of escape. Looks like he's going to go ahead and route in the sanctuary chest by going through that way. And we're going to go ahead and drop in and check on our friend, the magic bat. How dare you awaken me from my slumber? I curse thee with $20. And there's blue mail. That feels good. After being bullied around so much or that early game.
I mean, it effectively doubles the amount of hearts that you have.
Now we are slowly starting to build our way to a considerable heart count. And we're just starting to make our way through Kakariko Village. And there's our cave.
So that's piece one of the two that we need for the Canis Marian.
We still need a mirror. As the kid gives us a piece of his heart, I'm not sure how that's going to help them get healthier, but
Titans?
and the bacon sword.
Well,
The world just got a little less dangerous and a lot easier to route.
so what are we looking for right now for go mode?
The bow,
The bow,
fire rod,
maybe.
and potentially boots, depending on
Yeah.
how desert.
Skullwoods is a pendant, so fire rod may not be required.
Definitely adds ease to it all.
Yes, and there are some checks in there's some checks in TR that require fire rod. Well, all right. Well, okay. Next item, please.
Or did that just pop up in the well? Oh, you bet it did.
Yep. So we just need. So now we just need bow, and we need to find the mirror. There's silver arrows. Oh, Vivi found those earlier.
Well, we're definitely setting ourselves out to really fight things. And Chad bringing up a good point. The plus sign torch room in Ganon's Tower does not technically require the fire rod. However, it does make it a lot faster.
Right side of GT does require fire rod though. Logically,
Oh, yes.
there's a out of the way. Yeah.
Yeah, so logically yes, but technically no. You can pull it off with the lamp, but it's not easy to hit.
Yeah, and the logic won't expect you to do it. It requires like a precise bomb jump on a conveyor belt. It's disgusting. All right,
Do not try this.
Vivi's gonna give us what we want.
Are we seeing a pedestal check?
There's not a whole lot it could be. It could be like the mirror, maybe boots, depending on how things go.
I make things
But
go triple boom.
Nope. Dead.
Rest in peace, pedestal. We hardly knew ye. Alright, so we're on the hunt for the mirror. We're on the hunt for the bow. Not much left for go mode, but that seems just the way that inverted seeds typically shake out. Is you struggle and struggle to make your way into Light World, and then it just opens up and you're coasting your way from there. This, of course, being anecdotal to the 3 seeds I've managed to complete. As AaronDobbe is going to go ahead and activate their swag duck. The flute is not as useful as it was in Inverted. It's not required to gain mire access, but it does help with just a little bit of overworld movement.
I mean, they could flute to 8 and there's a hint tile there that they can access, or when they can couple it into a check with Ice Rod Cave.
Definitely becomes more useful once the mirror comes into play.
Yeah, it will provide Aaron access to Mire area without the mirror.
Yeah, but as soon as we find that mirror, that would give us the ability to clear out Misery Mire.
It's also fast access to desert now that we have the Titan Smiths. So, marginally useful.
Those Titans myths don't have the same impact that they once was, as the only thing they are 100% required to access is King's Tomb. Aaron's going ahead and checking out the dam here. Time to make their way to Mini Moldorm and see if they head up toward Ice Rod.
I mean, unless the mirror is here, then he's going to be continuing, yeah. He's still missing the mirror as well for access to Swamp Palace.
And that mirror is definitely our biggest key to the rest of this seed. I'd have to say that it's locking more things, probably the most things in this seed right now, because of where the Cane of Samaria is hiding. Or should I say, just lying out in the open. Money, money, arrows, heart, and little heart. Mini Moldorm coming up dry. And Vivi routing into the back of the escape a little bit backwards to pick up that dark chest.
I actually like the way Vivi routed this.
Definitely seems a little more efficient.
Yeah, I think he has too many hearts right now. He can't just death warp back up to the lobby up there, but it should be all right. We'll just have to walk it.
All right, and let's see what's hiding out in Ice Rod Cave now. It's a long walk on a cold day to find 3 bombs.
You can warm things up with it.
All right, AaronDobbe save and quits. So where are you off to next? Go ahead and taking a duck ride to 8. Looks like we're going Ice Palace. I think they picked up their bomb. Oh no, the fire rod, so it doesn't matter. First tin tile. A glove is in Blind's hideout. Good to know.
Thanks, game.
And that might have come in handy if you had taken the earlier dive into here with that Bombos medallion.
We wouldn't even needed the medallion. Like you could have swam down just for the hint, but that would have been going out of your way. So I can see why. Oh, there's our bow.
Trading a mushroom for a bow. What a deal today. So, where's the mirror hiding? Because that's all we're looking for go mode 53 minutes in after this brutal opening. There are just way too many item locations available once you quickly open the light world.
I mean, I can tell you where it won't be. It won't be in a Smario locked location. We'll have to see what Cold Stare has. Because that'll also tell us a little bit about what was expected.
Interesting to note, a fun little thing with inverted That mirror could be on the laser bridge. Look at that, half magic on the Zora ledge. And Dobby's gonna go ahead and set up their bomb jump.
There we go.
And what's the king of all scams holding on to today? I walked all this way, I gave you 500, and here's a net.
At least pick it up. Thank you.
As they say, you paid for it, you may as well get it.
Yeah. There's our real find there. Some half magic.
Definitely adds just a little bit more ease to this. And Vivi's gonna go ahead and walk down. Where are they gonna head to next? Be interesting to see where they decide to walk down from. Oh, they're gonna go ahead and swim back through the portal and check some more of the flipper lock locations. As Dobby bomb jumps her way across more of Ice Palace.
Alright, be careful. There is a hint tile up ahead. There is a hint tile up ahead, so...
And there was Uncle Bombs on Hylia Island. A unique item is near Uncle. Well, we found that already. But thanks. Good to know that it was going to let us know where the ice rod was hiding. And what is our hobo holding on to today? Just a little bit of love. Thanks for the visit, kid.
So, were both of our runners aware of the position of Canis Samaria?
They would have to be because they both climbed the mountain at that cave.
Yes. Okay. I knew that.
That's okay. It happens. The last cast I was in, I couldn't get in the name for anything correctly, including my co-com. It felt really bad. And there's the boots.
All right. Well, we're closing in on finishing up Ice Palace. That mirror is still not in sight.
However, that does bring us to not having to worry about a boots lock desert palace.
Oh, that is very true.
So that's definitely an ease of mind item. Plus, it's the boots. It just makes you go faster.
And I think that was item number 3.
I admittedly was not counting.
Oh, we'll see here in just a second.
And Vivi's gonna go ahead and walk down. Where are they off to next? Not to mention that wasn't item number 3, so he came back to check this chest.
Yeah, he's gonna go for the iced tea chest as well.
There is still one item potentially hiding in here at least, then. Ice Palace is an interesting place. It's looking at, unfortunately for those in chat, we need the mirror in order to gain the Canis Samaria to get through Mire, but we don't need that to finish, or to get through most of Mire, so that seems like the rudest possibility I can think of.
So, there was a small key that was at iced tea chest. That means that Coldster has an item, which then means subsequently that the game expected you to complete the block puzzle normally without Canis Samaria.
Fun little bit of key logic for you.
Yep. So that makes it more likely that Coldster might have what we're looking for. We'll have to see here.
Alright, 8 fire rod shots. Go ahead and try to get them set up into the corner. Ooh, takes an ice block and loses a little bit of control, but with Temperate Sword, I imagine they won't have too much trouble. So I think... No, he has a blue mail, so he will survive one Vitreous, or one eyeball hug. 2 puffs down, 3 puffs down, down goes Cold Stare, and what do we have? $5.
Oh. Well, it's crossed off now.
Right, and Vivi is making their way over to the now plethora of item locations that is the desert. Desert is completable with the boots that we know are in Ice Palace, though he has not been there. However, Agina, Checkerboard Cave, the Mire Shed, all these things are now available to Vivi.
So Skullwoods might be less attractive right now for Aaron, just because he has so much to do, and Skullwoods is a pendant.
And what was that
So
medallion requirement?
I
missed
didn't
it.
catch it. It doesn't matter though. Well, it might matter for Aaron. And oh, there we go.
There's the mirror in a place where you would not be able to obtain it in regular mode.
So I'd say after an hour, 56 minutes, Vivi is in go mode. He knows what he needs to do to finish this seed now. Well, assuming that boots aren't required in here. We'll find out if it's boots locked really soon.
So we are in no mode, but Vivi is potentially not.
Yep. It's a bit premature there.
We have to see if we are boots locked. Vivi still has to dip into Ice Palace. Thus, asking Nikita Samaria is hanging out on the bumper ledge, which the mirror was the final key to that the final piece to that puzzle. Check number 1. Small key.
We're still alive.
Need to find the big key in one of these 2 chests. Green potion.
Not a big key.
And Vivi opens up the chest to find the big key. They are in go mode officially.
The only thing that can stop Vivi now is really a boots requirement in GT. That's a 1 in 22 or so.
So we're at all depending on junk fill. It's just so the chances of this not being go mode are very, very, very slim. Some cash is in the castle. Good news. Alright, so what's hanging out in the big chest of Thieves Town? Cash.
$300 bills.
Interesting that Vivi is still checking items here. I suppose he's still looking for the boots, just in case. Though we know he will eventually find those if he decides to loot most of Ice Palace. Just 20 rupees on the desert ledge, and we'll head back, as AaronDobbe will have his scripted blind fight. As Vivi's gonna go ahead and make their way back toward Land Molus. Down goes the thief for Aaron. And gets an empty bottle for his trouble. And his 3rd crystal. So looking at where the items are and what's done, there is still a lot of chance for everything, for this race to still be close. However, Dobby still needs to head up and find the Bombos medallion. That is what's going to keep them out of completion. But it looks like they're heading back into Skull Woods. So they should be picking up their Bombos coin momentarily.
All right, time for some deep fried Lambo, or well, some
Silvers.
silver Lambo.
1, 2 arrows. First, the second one eluded him. And there's the final shot. Down goes Landmolus for crystal number 2 for Vivi. Alright, Vivi, what's next on your agenda?
I think it's probably that Canis, well,
Thief's Town.
cleanup. He knows where that cane's at, and it isn't going really anywhere.
No, it's definitely a good idea. I mean, the flute drops you directly in front of the entrance. Just go ahead, clean up blind. You have a gold sword and sword beams right now. You're more than well equipped. And you've... Is that 16 hearts I see? Good gosh.
Certainly a bit better than a 3-heart blind with a hammer.
3-heart hammer blinds. Everybody's favorite. Loses their sword beams, but I think they'll be okay. Going for more of a face tank strategy. As AaronDobbe has fun with their puzzle room here in Skull Woods. And there's our swirly coin. And gets a nice convenient ride out of there. So he will have to turn in his mushroom to get his bow. And he'll have to get the mirror from the checkerboard cave. And the cape was... Is that in Village of Outcasts?
I actually forgot where Cape was at.
Somebody who's paying better attention than me. Where was that in? Where was that, Chad? Dobby still has a lot of items to find. Vivi has all their items, or at least knowledge of where their items are. And he's going to go head over to the interesting way to access the bumper ledge.
Yeah, so in inverted, this has to be done in through the light world.
So you have to head in through the light world what would have been the Death Mountain access cave. Go through it, and once you get to the end, you have to use the mirror to actually obtain the item on the ledge. And Dobby will find their news of the not boots locked desert palace for him. So he already has those boots that we found in Ice Palette. Pull out the mirror, and that's gotta be Kane. So for all intents and except for a very slim chance, we are most likely in go mode here.
Still gonna do some overworld checks.
He's still hunting for the potential of boots, though we know that they're in Ice Palace. So since we know where everything is and we're making a few more checks, if you really enjoy what these runners are putting out here, they're putting out their hearts and souls into this tournament, please give them a follow on Twitch. A little bit of support is the least you can do. And there's a confirmation that it was indeed Bombos to get into Mire, though both of our runners have turned into coin fanatics and they've got them all. The extra checks by Vivi are potentially a waste of time, however, there's always that small chance that the boots are holding onto the Ganon's Tower big key, and he has not yet found them. The last thing you want to do is get all the way to Ganon's tower and realize, oh wait, I don't have boots. Be interesting to see how many extra checks that Vivi decides to route into this race.
Oh, he may go for. He'll probably go for both items in here. It's just you don't really want to. If it's dungeon you have to go into, you don't really want to have to go back.
And it is Misery Mire, where it could set up as quick, it could set up as slow. You never know. Misery Mire isn't gated by many keys except for the big key itself.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see when he grabs the big key. Yeah. Or what does he decide to do? All right, yeah, he's out of here.
He's out.
I wholly agree with this.
Be interesting to see how much of Ice Palace they choose to do, as the boots were kind of out of the way.
Yeah. As chat pointed out, I don't think Vivi's gonna go for him.
And there's the mirror for AaronDobbe. Still needs to turn in that mushroom to get the bow. And it could take them a long time to do that, potentially.
He also still needs his cape. So, there's that.
There's a lot of items missing for them, and the dungeon lead that they have is about to be closed.
Oh, I saw a cape on his menu.
Oh, it must have just been missed by the tracker. These things can happen.
Yep. Alright, so we're good there. Alright. So he knows what he needs to do now, short of the bow.
He just needs to turn in that mushroom, and that could take them a while, depending on how they route things. So they have not yet been to the Zora area, and with all their money and the flippers, they have a lot of things they can check, and that's also where the butter sword is hiding. Not wholly essential, but feels kind of good.
Yeah,
Set you up for some easy poke strats.
Yeah, in an inverted, it's not as simple as fluting to 2 to turn in that mushroom. You have to walk a little bit more.
Or pop the mirror. Since we have that now. Alright, never mind. I don't remember how worlds work. I'm lost.
Alright, be careful, Vivi.
Goes for the silvers. Ooh, lightning.
Yeah, Vitreous is the only enemy in the game besides Ganon that can take more than 1 silver hit.
Interesting feeling that they are just a giant eyeball. You figured the pokes would be a little more effective.
So, alright, no. Alright, he's not going to Skullwoods.
Well, we already picked up that Bombos coin.
Yeah.
He's going for his cane.
Absolutely.
Alright, and Vivi's gonna go head into Ice Palace, curious to see if they will go out of their way to find the boots or not. Because that could be the last big thing that swings this race and back into Dobby's direction.
So if Aaron is gonna turn in the mushroom, now would be the time. Otherwise, he may not do it for a while.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be something that could hold him back for quite a while. So we get fairies from the hoarder crabs. Aaron makes their way through the cave. They'll have to grab their mirror, and they will have their cane. As if he just gets a little bit tossed around by these little berries. have to set this up the little bit slower way.
Bombs were above the pose. That's referring to Graveyard Ledge.
I think we just saw that on Dobby's side a moment ago. They decided to flute their way to Misery Mire, so they're going to go ahead and complete that. Still, they're going to have to go they'll have to go a lot longer through there because they're still looking for Bo. The main thing we're looking for on AaronDobbe's side is how long is it going to take them to find the bow on the mushroom. For Vivi, it's whether they decide to go out of their way for the boots or not.
I think he's gonna go mode this. I don't see any reason why not to.
It would be interesting to see if maybe in a later dungeon the guaranteed boots hint were to show up. As we have not seen that one yet.
Alright. Yeah, so Aaron's not in go mode, so he's going to have to find the 2 items that are sitting in Mire.
And we know, unfortunately, that's not going to be anything that's going to help him complete this seed. He needs to turn in that mushroom.
Alright, that's crystal number 5 on Vivi's side.
Just got Pod and Swamp Palace left for them to complete.
Yeah, two dungeons. That'll be pretty fast for Vivi.
Considering Vivi has already cleared out all of Pod, except for the boss and the Bowlock side, which they can skip by. And they're gonna go ahead and buy a bomb upgrade and the arrow upgrade. And those do come with refills. And there is probably no better chance for them if they wanted to do that to take that. Unfortunately, they're gonna bonk their way out. There we go. Grab the flute and see if we're off to 5 or off to 7. We're heading to Pod.
Oh yeah, this will be really fast.
All they have to do is head straight to the Helmasaur King, and definitely feels good from one of these runners' perspective, knowing that they will not have to touch, or at least for Vivi's side, they know that they do not have to touch Turtle Rock at all.
So, I think it's actually faster to probably go to the light world, and then just work your way up to Eastern and then mirror back.
So with where they were coming out of where they were just coming out of, this is probably a little bit faster because of the flute. The fact that they were in the middle of Lake Hylia.
I'd have to time it.
It's just one of those scenarios because of where you're coming from. It makes that timing decision a little bit harder to think. It looks like since they're making the way toward Helmus, or they're at least gonna make this little quick little check on the Bowlock side of Pod. Not a lot of time lost for the potential boots. And AaronDobbe is heading their way toward Vitreous.
Oh, that's why he needed the small key.
Oh, yes.
Yep.
Should have thought about, that whole thing about needing keys. That has burned me in the past. One arrow into the statue, and we're heading back to the Kalmasaur King. Right, and down to go the Terrapins as AaronDobbe is going to make their way into the Vitreous fight. They did not pick up the silvers, so they're going to go ahead and cape and tempered strat this. They still need to find that bow, which the witch is holding on to. And 17 strikes with the hammer, and what is it? Maybe 2 slashes with the butter sword? Down goes Helmasaur.
Yeah, Vivi's definitely going to be hammering out his differences with Helmasaur King. There we go. So that's
2
Crystal.
strikes of butter.
Yep, crystal number 6 on Vivi's side. And Aaron also picks up a crystal from Misery Mire, that being his 5th.
Alright, so we're off to a go mode Swamp Palace for Vivi. AaronDobbe, where are you going to head up next? I really hope you're going to make your way to the witch.
He could end up going to Swamp Palace. Which would... Yeah, looks like that might be what he's doing. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense from a chest density standpoint.
Interesting.
So...
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind.
It's a good play. We just, based on what we know, it's not the play he needs to make, but it is a good play.
It's definitely a correct. It's a right play, but not the correct play for this seed.
But what is he doing first?
Pyramid Fairy.
Pyramid Fairy. Oh, I like this.
Yeah, he's got 5/6 in their vanilla locations.
So
this is a lot easier in the inverted mode.
Yeah, he'll just take it up here and then mirror back to the light world. Or mirror it back to the dark world.
Has to wait for the big bomb to blow to find nothing that he's looking for, unfortunately. Piece of heart and what I think is a better boomerang.
Alright, now is he gonna go for... No, he is not going for it.
Alright, just a little bit of go mode. Swamp Palace to go. Vivi's going to make their way back towards our friend Argus.
Yeah, now he's going for swamp.
Just making a couple slightly out of the way checks just in case their boots are hiding there. Though we know we've already that Vivi's already left them behind. And AaronDobbe is making their way into the front door of Swamp Palace. Gonna go ahead and check the hint. Heart containers in Mimic Cave. Well, he's already been there. Nice one to check off the list, but that is an earlier check than in most seeds with the nature of inverted mode. Deciding not to go for the poke strats, but is making their way through. Is setting themselves up for the quick kill though. Doesn't quite catch it. Argus not quite cooperating, but there's the spin and down goes that. So I think it's time we play a little game.
So everybody go ahead and get your guesses in for where that Ganon's Tower big key lies. You do not need to be a subscriber or supporter of the ALTTP randomizer channels. It is completely open to everybody. Go ahead and get your guesses in. Just put a number in, nothing else.
There is no leaderboard for this, but I will give you my everlasting love and affection if you make that guess. Get those guesses in, because we only need to go into Hyrule Castle Tower, because that's where Ganon's hiding now.
So this is actually a new update. This does in fact have a leaderboard.
Oh, I missed
it
that.
Is,
I missed that ping.
Yeah, I never announced it, but it's different from speed gaming. It's not the same thing. It is actually based on the number of players that participate.
Oh, that's right.
So,
because you were the one that developed this, weren't you?
Maybe.
So, can you give us an insight as to how the point system works?
So it scales off of the number of people who actually put guesses in. But it kind of tapers off after 25 players.
All right. And we're in. The guesses are complete, and we're heading in. Number 1, nothing. Number 2, money. All right, now here's the moment of truth for Vivi. If it's hiding on number 3, he's got to go back. Number 3 is a small key. He is officially go mode.
He's about as go as it's gonna get, go mode.
I have to imagine there was a monumentous sigh of relief from Vivi at that moment.
He could also be thinking the time I spent checking for boots. It was technically wasted.
Number 4, bombs. Number 5, $50. 6, a small key. 7, small key. We're continuing on. And AaronDobbe is going to go ahead and take care of their Argus fight.
So there's 3 of the small keys. $8's $20. And Aaron finishes up Argus and claims his 6th crystal. We know where he needs to go. It's whether or not he figures out where he needs to go. He has the mushroom. He needs to turn it into the potion shop.
Well, he still has Palace of Darkness he can check. He still has a lot of checks in Turtle Rock, Eastern Palace. There's a lot of things that could be pointing him away from that.
I mean, Turtle Rock that's a lot of bait right there.
Number 9, just the map. Alright, we're heading into the randomizer room, thus dubbed so because there's no other reason to be here unless you're playing rando. And he's going back in to check the left side of swamp. Number 10 compass, 11 10 arrows, 12 bombs, 13 $300. We're continuing on. Has to go through the slightly longer way, as I never found the boots in Ice Palace, but no big deal.
So we can bomb jump. You know, yeah, a bomb jump will do this. It's a bit trickier to set up, but he gets it.
It definitely seemed a little bit dangerous as I saw them teetering. All right, 14 Bob's chest. Small key. We head on.
That's our 4th small key, by the way. So we found them all.
So beyond that, there's some junk fill. Almost on ice. Quick show, quick show. 15 20 rupees, 16 piece of heart, 17 20 rupees. We're continuing on.
All right, so it is the right side of GT and tile room that's left.
Just when I thought I finally had a chance of getting it right. He's gonna go ahead and leave tile room for number 22. And AaronDobbe has finished Swamp Palace, so we'll go ahead and dip out of there. Where is he going to head to next? I have a feeling it's probably not going to be where he wants to, where he needs to go, though. $18 and 19, nothing. 20, nothing. 21.
Yeah, there we go. It was not tile room.
Now let's go ahead and see who our winner is momentarily. And it looks like Iliad 2 was the winner of the Ganon's Tower Big Key guessing game. You have scored 10 points on the leaderboard. Congratulations. For those asking in chat, the bow is on the witch. As Vivi is going to go ahead and climb their gauntlet, AaronDobbe is making their way up towards Zora. One can only hope they're going to dip down to the mushroom spot.
No.
No!
No.
And he's had that mushroom since the beginning of the game, and it's likely buried in his menu behind the powder.
Yeah.
Be curious to see if he runs an item tracker.
Yeah, I think we're going to be seeing TR in its full glory.
It's full unnecessary to touch glory. down go the wizards for more satisfying parts of the game. So for those that are asking in chat, inverted mode means we started this game way back an hour and a half ago. We started in the dark world and had to make our way into the light world. That's one of the new modes added to the Link to the Past randomizer with version 30. Which is why we entered Turtle Rock via the laser bridge. Something you'd normally not be able to do. It's definitely it is one of the really cool design modes. However, it is not for. I will caveat: it is definitely not for beginners. The light world is a cruel and unforgiving place when you have very little hearts. Alright, picking up our key from the helmet store, we'll continue on. Makes a nice juke, and we'll get the nice heart refill here from the anti-fairy plus bunny beam. Checks the chest for the heck of it. And we're heading on over to Moldorm 2. Butter sword in hand, we should not have much trouble at all. One swipe, two swipe, and Moldorm 2 is down. Just a hook shot across, and we are heading over to our friend the wizard. His last possessions were 10 arrows. Make our way through the ice conveyor belt room. Finally defeating the stair boss, and we're up to Aghanim, as AaronDobbe is making their way to Trinex. Still on the hunt for that bow. Alright, just have to finish our required geometry test, and we're on our way to the big pig. And that's an easy A in geometry for Vivi, and they're heading back to see the King of Bacon. And AaronDobbe makes quick work of Trinex, unfortunately not finding the bow that they're looking for. He still has a few more checks left in Turtle Rock because of the way you can route Turtle Rock. And we head in. Life, dreams, hope. Where does it all come from? I am to destroy. Deep thinking with Ganon. Get us the start of Phase 2. We're going to have more than enough swings with that gold sword to send us into Phase 3 there. Just a few fire bats to dodge.
Some more fancy footwork.
Now just wait for the teleporting to stop. Please. Please stop.
Yeah. Ganon, please. There we go.
Please. Stop. This will feel really bad for Aaron when he gets to this point, because this teleportation is seed lock. And there's the Cane of Burna for AaronDobbe. Did you find the arrows in the light world? We sure did, Ganon. Thanks for asking, though. Oop, just misses the torch glitch, but shouldn't be too bad for them. And sets up the double. That's the final arrow into the pig. Just a 1x3 bridge left for Vivi to complete. The fanfare is playing. Get your GGs in chat as Vivi is heading in toward victory.
All right, and so Vivi has finished this race with an official SRL time of. I didn't catch it in SRL chat. Did you?
I've got it here. I have a 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 12-second completion for Vivi. GG's to them, definitely. That was one heck of a very good display of routing and just perseverance with the way that seed started. Just a lot of, just a tough, just a really, really rough opening, wouldn't you agree?
Oh yes, that's we'll have to ask what Vivi's thoughts on that are once he gets in here.
It definitely though that definitely is the nature of inverted. The early game is the biggest hurdle you have to tackle, as we saw, where the early game, just getting our light world access, was just a bear and a half, and then once we got into light world, everything opened to us, and we were just in go mode a couple minutes later. It looks like we are now joined in chat by Vivi. Congratulations and GG's to you.
Thank you very much. GG.
So I guess we're going to start with, how did you feel about the way that C started?
I didn't like too much the beginning. First of all, it was a pretty troll, and I didn't do too well either. I died at a couple of unfortunate places, but and got grabbed by that ant and the wall master in Skullwoods like 4 more times that I would have liked. But once things got started, it went well after that.
And that was one of my next question. How about them wall masters?
Yeah, not my favorite.
It's a pretty good collection, right? 143 out of 216.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I find that inverted usually has lower collection rate for because you often get go mode not long after getting access to the light world. So
It definitely seems that it's set up to make the early game the real hurdle.
yeah, for sure.
Sorry to cut you off there, Sinek.
Oh no, I was just saying, Aaron is in the right place, just not in the right world right now. He still needs to turn in the mushroom for the bow.
Yeah, we played quite a few games with my friends of inverted, and I've always been saying that mushroom spot, not the mushroom spot, but the witch mushroom turn in is the worst place in the whole inverted because it's so out of the way. If you already did the checks there, you're never going back there until it's your last check.
Yeah, and that's definitely a tough way to route, because it's not an easy flute to 2 anymore. It's probably maybe even worse than going to catfish in a normal seed.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
All right, so with that victory, that moves you up to 10-3, and or is that 9? I forget. It moves you up to another thing closer towards getting yourself into the bracket stage. How do you feel with the rest of your races going forward? That's 8-3.
I think I hate and 3 will be I'm feeling okay. I mean, I think this group will have a photo finish with me, Rywek, and Aaron all pretty close together. So I'm excited to see how it's gonna end. I have 2 races with Rywek tomorrow. I think those should be pretty interesting, and we'll probably decide or have a big influence on the final rating
Right,
of the group. Yeah.
And with those 2 races you have with Rywek today, do you know what modes you're playing?
I think Rywek chose like pretty standard, like open Ganon, and nothing else. No. Yeah, I think that's it. I personally chose all dungeon key sanity, standard Uncle Assured, which is my favorite thing to play. So.
All right, and going into that third game, what would you veto with the bot choice?
Most likely defeat Ganon. I like playing all dungeon. It helps me the way I play because I'm usually trying to be pretty thorough, and I like going into dungeons, pendant dungeon, and if it's just a Ganon goal and I find nothing in there, then I I lose a lot of time. So I really like playing All Dungeon.
And it definitely speaks to that. Interesting that you, but just the way where the seed didn't point you in the direction of the or if your normal play is you did not have to touch the pendant turtle rock at all.
No, that was pretty nice. When I was my go mode was mirror, which had the Somaria lock behind it. So I said, well, I cannot backdoor TR and I cannot enter through the front door since I don't have Somaria, so I'm not going in there at all. I was pretty happy with that.
It definitely had to feel a little bit nerve wracking finding that super early ice rod in the escape sequence. I'm like, please, I don't want to go here.
Yep, the ice rod and the fire rod not too long after. I don't need a fire rod at all. I have already my bombos and I find fire rod with Skullwood and TR as and then but I guess it was needed for that GT big key.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, how did you feel about? How did you feel when you reached the Ganon's Tower torch and realized you didn't need the boots?
Well, a bit relieved because I could have left it behind like anywhere in the world. I did a couple more checks, like things that were not too far out of the way, but yeah, I was relieved. Obviously, I lost like maybe 30 to 45 seconds doing unnecessary checks just to be a bit more cautious, but yeah, I was pretty relieved.
And then, are you curious as to where that was hiding?
Yeah, I don't know yet. Yeah.
It was hiding pretty deep in Ice Palace.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember specifically which chest it was. Do you remember that, Sinek?
Which chest? Sorry.
The boots in Ice Palace.
Oh yeah, that was in the vanilla big key chest.
Then, oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Definitely deeper than you were going to dive.
Oh yeah, I just opened the freezer chest, which had like the map. I think worth it.
Hey, so can I interrupt for a second? I think Aaron is finally going to find his bow.
Now, here comes the moment of truth.
Oh, yeah.
How much appreciation is he going to show this witch?
Where was the mushroom? I don't even remember where I got it.
I think it was like in the Kakariko well or something. I don't remember. It was really
No,
early.
it was in,
It's-
like Thieves Town or something. It was
Oh.
like a super early dungeon check
Yeah.
that we didn't. No, it was in Pod.
Oh yeah, it was in pod. Yeah.
It was in Pod. Yeah, because we're looking for something useful, and it ended up being the mitts were in the big chest, and you're just going through like, come on, give me something, and we get the mushroom. All right, so how do you feel going into tomorrow's double race?
Well, I'm feeling okay. Me and Rywek, we play a lot, and we're both in the French community of the game, and we've played a lot, like friendly races, and it's gonna be fun race. I think it's gonna be pretty close race too. So yeah, I have 2 races with him and 1 more race with Aaron tomorrow too. So I have 3 races tomorrow.
Definitely a stacked day for you then.
Yeah. I had a pretty busy last 2 weeks at work. I couldn't get any races in, so all coming down to this weekend.
Oh yeah, well we are down to the wire as the races need to be completed by next Wednesday. So any further comment there for us, Vivi, or any trash you want to talk going into tomorrow's big day?
Oh, Thrash, sure. Rywek's gonna get wrecked, like his name says, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm enjoying the tournament so far, and I want to thank both of you for doing the commentary and the restream, and whoever's in tracking. I don't see the name on the restream, but thank you all the crew for putting this up.
Oh, you're welcome.
Absolutely, and thank you for putting on one heck of a race.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Yeah, you're free to go. Get yourself rested up. You get a big day tomorrow. GG's once again.
So Aaron is working his way through Palace of Darkness right now. He'll hammer out his differences with Elmasaur King, and then make his way over to Ganon's Tower.
Alright, one strike to the eyeball, and he's heading back toward the Helmasaur King. Still has to... That's their last crystal they'll have to complete. Be curious to see if they go left or right in Ganon's tower. Just a few terror pins in his way, and we're going to head on back to the Helmasaur King. Butter sword in hand, at 17 strikes with a hammer and 2 yellow sword swings, and it's over.
All right. Helmasaur King is down, and that will be crystal number 7.
Alright, and then we're going to see a flute over to 4. Nope, we're actually going to head to 3. Oh no, he did hit 4. I just can't see. Head on into the light world, into the castle, and we'll head on up to Ganon's tower in the castle. Definitely have to give it up for AaronDobbe, who is gutting it through this seed despite probably having already seen the dot done in chat. This was definitely a tougher seed for him. Just a tough seed in general in that beginning. That was just punishing. Pushing on our way back, the crystals will spin, and we're heading into Ganon's tower. The real question is, are they going to go left and take the long way, or go right and gain profit? But I have to remember, was there even keys in the first 2 chests?
Yeah. I think at least one of them had a key. Or no, they didn't.
No. So we
Oh.
were forced to the left. So it'll probably be a long slog for Aaron as well. Alright, just a few. We're gonna go ahead and round up those stealthos for one big swing to take them all down. As we find out that our stun prize this entire time was a single rupee. We'll see Aaron be able to make a slightly faster trek through the gauntlet with the boots in hand. Or on foot, I suppose, we would say. And we'll go ahead and Mario block those crystals and make our way over. Pick up the key, and we're heading on further through Ganon's tower. We'll be able to bonk over the fire snake. Now it's time to teleport around, waste our time in rando room, and to clear our way to the left side to reach the right. A few more teleports to go, and we'll make our way to finishing this right side. Or left side. Rest in peace, Bob. We hardly knew ye, and now it's time to head on down. It's time once again for Armos on Ice.
Blink and you miss it.
It's a little bit slower since we can't just stand exactly where we want. Thanks, Ice Physics. We love you in video games. Alright, that's left side complete. Now it's finally head over right with our 3 keys in hand.
It's a nice little swoop.
Decides to
Alright.
leave Tire Room for now. Good for him. Burn that Gibdo to the ground. Dash on out. Throw it over the Gibdo doing damage on the way, and he will finally pick up his big key in this room. Mirroring out, and we're up to the gauntlet. Just a little bit of gauntlet left, and he'll be making his way to finishing this seed. Definitely commending him for pushing through after this one definitely put us to the ringer. I would have to agree with the sentiment that Vivi gave us that the witch spot is probably the worst place in Inverted.
Indeed. That's it is so out of the way. It's like even worse than catfish. It's like I'd say it's probably like the equivalent of maybe catfish in regular modes, except at least with catfish you can pair that in with Zora checks.
He did have an opportunity to pair it in with some things, but just chose routing that did not support that. Because he had the ability to check it when he went up to the Zora area. Nice quick work of that red Zazax room. The developers certainly were not kind by just making everything icy up here. How does it even stay cold here?
Magic.
That makes sense.
Though that was a very nice one cycle land mode.
Wait, there was a landmo fight there?
Oh, apparently, allegedly at least.
I saw some explosions, but I think there were wizrobes in that room too, maybe. All right, and we are making our way through more of the gauntlet. Just a few torches to light. Gonna go ahead and pick up this full magic canner. I'm gonna go ahead and walk past the helmet sword. Just need to spend the key. Pick up the key. I like that little. I like the use of that little dash there. All right, and we're on to Moldorm too. Should be 2 easy swings, so I suppose he could dash at Moldorm. Down goes Moldorm. Unfortunately, did not pull out his hook shot in time, so he'll have to wait out the animation. I always find it interesting that you're unable to menu during an explosion.
It's a well-written game.
Especially
I'm
since
sure.
we are on the early version as well.
It's probably to prevent something probably more catastrophically bad from happening.
Soft lock prevention or just a overuse of memory. I'm sure somebody has dug in and found out why that's the case. Game for as long as it's been pulled apart, but yet we're still finding new things this year.
By the way, we did see a triple, which was pretty nice.
Definitely the execution has definitely been there for Aaron today. All right, and down goes the sorcerer, and we have awakened the big pig. He'll have to be a bat first before we get the bacon, but
So this is actually why a lot of runners prefer all dungeons over Ganon goal in this tournament, because if this was if this was all dungeons, this may have been a closer race.
it
Just
really
because
just
of
all depends
yeah,
because of where that was hiding.
yep. It may have been, like, hindsight's always 20/20.
I would lean more toward that if it were like the bow had been hiding in Turtle Rock as opposed to being in a light world location that we had access to pretty much instantly.
It's true.
There's just a lot of what ifs that could be, and then also with all dungeons, it would completely it would change the item locations quite a bit because of just how many more possibilities there are. Because you can find progression needed for a pendant dungeon in Ganon's Tower, depending on how things lie.
It's very true. And Aaron also dealing with the same Ganon
All
zip
the
patterns.
teleports.
Yep.
Picks up the torch glitch. Well done by them. 2 silver arrows, 2 to go. Oh, and takes a fall. That fire bat was just not having it. And he'll have to make his way back up the castle. It's a little bit slower in inverted mode because of where the exit was placed. And down we go for round 2 with Ganon. All right, we're going to go ahead and make our way through the second phase of Ganon. No problems. On to phase 3. This will be a different fight as once a fall is taken, it re-rolls the RNG seed for Ganon teleport. And this one seems to be a little bit kinder. A lot kinder. Look at that. 1 teleports for each cycle.
All right.
Nails the torch glitch.
Shot number 2.
And
3.
there's the double setup.
All right, and Aaron is going to finish this race here in just a hot second.
Get your GGs in chat. They've definitely put their heart and souls out there. That was an absolute slog of a race. And as he crosses over the bridge and the fanfare plays, we can now announce that he finished in second place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 6 minutes, and 34 seconds. GGs to AaronDobbe. Unsure as to whether we will see him for an interview yet, but I guess while we wait to find that out, what are your final thoughts on this seed, Sinak?
Looked like it was looked like it was a pretty fun seed. The beginning of it was a bit brutal, but it's nothing that a seasoned runner won't be able to get through. I think the seed did a good job of kind of highlighting what makes inverted inverted.
I would definitely agree. Inverted mode is something that is designed to be really difficult to get in right away when it starts. Then once you get into the light world, things just open up. Usually. This is still randomizer. It can still do a lot of things to us. And we are now joined by AaronDobbe in chat. GG's to you.
Hey, thank you.
Definitely props to you pushing through that rather tough seed. I guess I'll start with how do you feel about the way that one started?
Ooh, that was probably the worst inverted start I think I've ever experienced. Just getting no help at all from anything.
Definitely, it was tough.
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it. Like, I feel like I wasn't executing super well either at the beginning of the race. Made a few dumb mistakes that caused a lot more time than mistakes of that kind usually do, just because of how just sort of locked in we were at the start, because like nothing opened up.
Absolutely, and I watched it. If you can check out the restream later, you'll definitely see that the opening was not kind to either of you by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I bet. Because yeah, I know it's super easy when you're in a situation or in this race environment to like assume that your opponent has done everything perfectly and is making no mistakes, but it was really, really hard. So yeah.
All right. So looking at what that puts you in the tournament wise, reading is hard. It puts you at 5-5.
Mhm.
What do you have left on your schedule with 5 races left?
Well, 4 of those 5 races are happening this weekend. But yeah, my next one is at 4:30 today. I'm going to be doing some all dungeons hard Randomizer versus Gus. Then I got a double header versus Burn the Witch tomorrow at 3:30, and then later that night at 8:30, we'll be doing a game 3 against Vivi here.
All right, and for that game 3 with Vivi, what would you veto?
Man, I can't remember. I think I vetoed Swordless.
One could definitely not blame you for that one.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I don't. It's like I don't think I'm bad at Swordless. I know how to do it. I practiced it a bunch. I just don't find it very fun. So yeah,
Definitely can't blame you
looking
for
back
that
at
one.
the chat. Yeah, looking back at the chat, VV vetoed Ganon, and then I vetoed Swordless.
He definitely seems to be a big fan of the all dungeons. So I guess as we near the back third of your tournament, how do you feel you did into the going into this group stage?
Um, it's so hard to say because
I guess how did it compare to your expectations going in?
I feel like I'm doing about as well as I expected. Just kind of even. Because I know that there's some very, very good opponents here in this group. This is, I think, one of the more interesting groups that were rolled out of all of them. And I think it's showing in the scores so far is that it's still a pretty big toss up as for who's going to move on out of here. I know DT did really well. He ended up with 11-4. But I think, yeah, second place is definitely in big contention between me, Rywick, and Vivi.
Well, you definitely have a lot of races and a lot of chance to make up room where you can still put yourself into the bracket stage, depending on how things shake out.
Yep, as long as we don't have any more items in the Witch's Hut in inverted, because this is 2 races in a row that I've lost to that exact location.
Are you? What was hiding in that previous race?
That's a good question. I think it might have been the Cane of Samaria.
That's definitely just not a fun location in inverted at all.
Yeah. Pretty brutal.
All right, so as not to hold you too long, as you have another race coming up momentarily, just any final thoughts before we sign off the air?
Yeah, thanks for everyone who stuck around and cheered me on. I know the times are definitely a bit lopsided this time, but I'm always happy to play one of my favorite games for an audience, no matter what. So thanks everyone who stuck around.
And definitely thank you for putting on that great show and fighting through what was a really tough seed. So we're going to head on in toward the end of the broadcast. Sinak, you got anything for us?
No, can I talk about some of the stuff that's coming up on the ALTTP randomizer channels today?
If you were not going to do it, I was. So please be my guest.
All right, so right now on ALTTP Randomizer 2, we've got Kern versus Delane playing an inverted randomized swords, normal
Ooh.
difficulty. Also then up on ALTTP Randomizer channel, we have Swerve versus someone 325. That's actually going to be a set of 2 matches. The first one's going to be at 3:30 p.m. and that's all dungeons open randomized, normal Randomizer, and then at between those two later on, we also have someone versus Swerve at 7:30 p.m. and that's going to be Ganon open randomized hard, and then with key sanity thrown on top of that. Also, then on ALTTP Randomizer 2, we've also then got a Ganon inverted swordless hard, also between Kern and Delane at 4:30 p.m. So there'll be plenty on this channel today. There's nothing on Speed Gaming. It is all ALTTP randomizer channels. So if you want to experience all that, feel free to give all those channels a follow, and you'll get notified when we come online.
Definitely go ahead and give us a follow. Definitely give a follow to our racers, AaronDobbe and Vivi. The links are in chat. if you feel so inclined. Sinak, I'm not so much a streamer myself. Also give a big shout out to the tracker Falcon Can and the restreamer Danny. We are going to go ahead and head on towards signing off for this race day. Please stick around on the link to the past randomizer family of channels to see a lot more races coming up. We are nearing the end of this tournament, so there's a lot left, a lot on the line to play for, as we have to wrap everything up by the coming Wednesday. For the Link to the Past Randomizer Fall Tournament, I am bungeed to the tree, and I'm ready to have a good night.
Good night, everybody.